This is a bottle, and this bottle, along with every other bottle on today's list, have quickly become some of the most attractive close encounter fragrances on the market. I mean, these just don't smell good. They make her want to get closer and closer and closer. Yep, those are the ones we're talking about today, so let's get into it. Alright, first up from Burberry, we got Elixir de Parfum. Now, this is one of the newer fragrances on the list, as this is a 2026 release. And as you would expect, this one does play into that darker, more resinous take from a Hero line, but what you might not have expected is how fire this one is. Now, all things considered, when you think about what Hero brings to the table, this brings all of that plus a little bit more. This one feels more upscale, more addictive, and when you think about the elements in terms of how these notes show up, well, it's a little bit more sensual. That Tonka's here and the vanilla in this fragrance just gives it an upscale feel that you don't get from the others. Simply put, if you're looking for a fragrance to save the day, then this Burberry Hero Elixir de Parfum could be your saving grace. Moving on, from Viktor & Rolf, we got Spice Bomb Metallic Musk. Now, don't get it confused. The original Viktor & Rolf Spice Bomb was already a banger. It turned heads. And the extreme version was just another level up. Now, when you think about what it takes to be special within the realm of designer fragrances, then I think Viktor & Rolf has it figured out. Because if you ask me, almost every one of these within their lineup could work in this situation. But here's what makes Metallic Musk a little bit different. Obviously, the note of musk. Spice Bomb is known for just that, being a spicy fragrance, but the musk element here just adds a bit more sensuality to it. Now, also, there's just an extra cooling effect here, which makes this one more ideal for that warmer weather versus the colder weather that we would traditionally use this profile in. Now, if you spray this fragrance on, it says everything without saying too much. And if you look online, the ladies will say it for you. Make no bones about it, Metallic Musk is a go-to fragrance for that close encounter wear, and if you're looking for something that's gonna smell good on skin and skin to skin, don't say you haven't been warned. Alright, we're gonna keep the train rolling a bit and move on to Commodities Milk. Now, milk is very different than what we traditionally talk about for now as a commodity. On this channel, we typically discuss velvet, juice, book, and sometimes even gold. But in my opinion, milk is underrated. Now, here's the obvious part. Milk is a gourmand scent, and it will come off a little bit like tonic and creamy. It's not overpowering or in your face, but it does have that proper amount of allure to it that makes you want to get even closer. Well, makes her want to get closer. Now, some years back, Commodity decided to take a twist with their fragrances. Most brands milk out, all puns intended, every bit that they can get from a fragrance, but Commodity does things differently. When they release a fragrance, you get three. You get the minus version, you get the normal version, and then you also get the plus version. Think about it like an EDT, an EDP, and a parfum. And this would be more or less your normal version. That means the fragrance isn't too overpowering, nor is it too underwhelming. This one is expressive, and it works for you and those around in your bubble. What I really appreciate about this fragrance is that it feels just a little bit more masculine than what you would get from Xerjoff's Italica. Now, that fragrance is fire, but so is this. In addition to that milk, you get some saffron. You also get some rich woods and some marshmallow. When I think about this fragrance, it reminds me of R. Kelly's I'm a Flirt. So wear this one when you're feeling a little flirtatious. Now, before we keep going, let me talk to the fellas for a second. We've been talking about fragrances that pull women in, but here's something most guys don't realize. The fragrance might get the woman's attention, but you have to be the one to keep it. And to be honest, that's where a bunch of y'all mess up. I mean, really, hear me out. You get the look, you get the smile, you get to open it. And then you completely fold under pressure because you don't know how to flirt, lead a conversation, or build attraction without being awkward. And that's exactly why I'm excited today's video is being sponsored by the Wing Girl Method. Now, if you're not familiar, it's created by Marnie, aka your personal wing girl.
My name is Marnie, and from here on out, I'm going to be your very own personal wing girl.
And she's known for helping thousands of guys across the globe transform their dating lives. So I say she knows what she's doing. Now, if you've ever been outside before, chances are you've seen an average or a below average guy with an above average woman. And you might think it's because he got loads of money, which could be true, but chances are he knows how to communicate, he knows how to flirt, and he knows how to build this emotional connection. And that's exactly what Marni's science-based system, the F formula, teaches. It's a proven step-by-step formula that helps you stop overthinking, stop getting friend-zoned, and finally understand what truly makes women attracted to you. You just need confidence, social awareness, and the right approach. It's really that simple, and I'm not sure what you're waiting for, because over 100,000 men have already used the F formula to completely level up their confidence and their dating lives.
I can honestly say this is better than all of the therapy that I've had.
So, if you're tired of fumbling opportunities and tired of watching other guys get the women that you actually want, or just tired of feeling invisible anytime you walk into a room, then this is your sign to fix it. Just click the first link down in the description to get a free preview of the F formula. And if you decide that you want to unlock the full program, you'll get an exclusive 50% off discount. And that's just for being part of the Triple B fam. So remember, the fragrance on this list will get her attention, but what happens afterward is completely up to you. So if you need that help and guidance, let Marni show you the way. Now, let's get back into this list. You know another one that makes you feel like that? From Kieran NYC, we got Scent X1. Now, she got some bangers over there, but this one is a seductive, boozy, fruity fragrance that just performs well and gets a ton of attention. For me, this fragrance sits somewhere between the happy hour and the midnight hours. It's cognac, it's myrrh, it's honey, it's apple. And that said, it gives you this sweet, resinous appeal that you really can't get enough of. On first spray of this fragrance, I get some of that apple, but don't compare it to Parfum de Marly's Greenleaf. There's just a crisp apple here, and then it quickly transitions and pulls in some of that cognac. And I think it's interesting because I get that apple at the top, but technically it's a part of the base. So you get a little bit of it and it kind of fades away, but then it comes back in a little bit more aggressive manner. Overall, this fragrance is soft, it's sweet, it's woody, it's boozy, and it has a ton of emotion to it. It's a seductive fragrance that I think you are going to enjoy wearing. So if you have not tried this one out, I'm not sure what you're waiting on. Next, I want to talk about a fragrance that has become a star within my household, and fairly quickly. The fragrance comes from Fulton & Rock, and this one is Cali Ocho. When I think about this fragrance, it kind of reminds me of Kilian's Angel Share. And I've been a huge fan of that fragrance since day one, and this one's no different. But then again, it kinda is. With this fragrance, you're gonna get some sandalwood, you get some tobacco, and you also get rum, which is really like this trifecta for a sexy scent. In addition to that, on the first spray here, you get a blast of cinnamon, and then it slowly and smoothly transitions through the note of rum, and then it also pulls forward this dark chocolate. That said, the top of this fragrance just gives you some extra warmth. As you move forward from there, you get jasmine, you get labdanum, and you get some tobacco leaf. Now, personally, for me, the tobacco leaf and that labdanum come out on top. It gives it a bit of a resinous feel, a bit balsamic, and then that tobacco leaf just adds this extra pop of richness. But I also think it's key to note that it's not super in your face. This fragrance does feel laid back, a bit softer. And the tobacco leaf here doesn't translate into a hard tobacco, so it doesn't feel harsh like you just got finished smoking a pack. But instead, what does happen as this fragrance begins to get into that base, that musk shows up, you get some more of the woods and you get some extra layer of warmth and sweetness that's pulled in from that tonka bean. It's a fragrance profile that says, I came to get busy. So if it sounds like you, then you already know what to do. All right, another one I want to talk to you about is from Savoir Faire, and this one is Soul Cafe. If you were to look this fragrance up on their site, you would know exactly why it's on this list. They say that this fragrance is made to be intensely personal and intimate, sexually even. It says it's not the nice, we've been talking for 2 months. This is that, let's get busy. Now, that said, it still doesn't feel like a raunchy fragrance. And like most Savoir Faire fragrances, there's a lot going on here. You got everything in this fragrance from tobacco to firewood to blood orange and even an oud note here, but it doesn't come off as dank. What this fragrance does come off though is everything that it mentioned. It's sensual, it's sophisticated, it's warm, it's intimate, it's highly personal, but it's also a fragrance that just has an extra touch of class to it that could work well on that first date, that third date or just Netflix and chilling. Yet, it's also versatile enough and sophisticated enough that I wouldn't feel wrong about wearing this one to the office because I have. Now, if you've ever seen Coming to America, then just let your soul glow. Because this fragrance is fire. I don't know what that has to do with fire, but it just works. You know what else just works? Les Sables Roses from the house of Louis Vuitton. Now, Louis Vuitton fragrances do a lot of things well, but when you dig into this one here, oh man, this is fire. So now for me personally, this one was love at first sniff, but none of that matters because when my wife smelled it, she bought it for your boy. Now this fragrance here is intimate, it's sexy, it's a date night in the bottle, shall I say. And if you're looking for those elements within a fragrance, it's right here. Now, when I think about Louis Vuitton fragrances, typically Imagination, Afternoon Swim, Pacific Chill, Meteor, those are the fragrances that tend to get the most love. But if you want to do things a little bit different, step outside of the norm, and also smell phenomenal, this is the scent to do it. Your keynotes here, rose, oud, and ambergris. But it doesn't smell dank. This fragrance smells a bit beautiful, yet it doesn't smell dainty. If you've been afraid to wear florals, then this one is one of those fragrances I believe will help change your perception. Now, it does cost some extra coin, so be prepared for that. But if you're looking for something that works across for you and possibly for your lady, but will also make sure she is all over you, in my opinion, when you wear this fragrance, go for it, without a question. I mean, you could go try it out, or you could just add to cart. As we make our way through this list, that leaves us with 3, and these are fire. This fragrance that we have here is from Byredo, and this one is Black Saffron. Now, if you know anything about this fragrance, it's a little bit spicy, it's a little bit fresh, but it's also a lot of bit sexy. Now, when we think about the theme of this video of making women want to get closer to you, this one does exactly that. When I think about Black Saffron, it kind of puts me in the mind of Tom Ford's Tuscan leather, ombre leather, and Parfum de Marly's Gold Dolphin. That said, you get something that's a little bit spicy, a little bit floral, and also a little bit fruity. Here you get that raspberry, you also get some of that, obviously, saffron. You get some leather here as well, but it also comes off a lot smoother than some of those fragrances that we already mentioned. Now, what I think is super dope about Black Saffron compared to some of these other fragrances is the fact that it wears lighter, which makes it more like a year-round fragrance. This one here is going to do phenomenal for you in the spring and the summer, but it will also be dense enough for you to wear in the fall and winter. Now, if you haven't experienced Byredo fragrances yet, here's what you need to know. These fragrances come off as more natural, more upscale, and also a little bit more refined than some of the other scents on the market. This one opens tart, has this nice freshness to it, and it dries down into something that's cozy, smooth, and has just a touch of earthiness. All in all, it wears as a seductive fragrance, and if you haven't experienced the house of Byredo yet, this could be a good first stop. Now, as we move forward, we go through Hibiscus Mahajat from Maison Carmeli. I was recently scrolling through Instagram and I saw a few people talking about this one as a date night champ, and I have to agree. Now, this fragrance is so nice that we happen to get it twice. I have a bottle, my wife has a bottle, and then I also have a third fake bottle, and it looks eerily similar to this, but much bigger. All in all, this fragrance is rich, it's floral, and it's also fruity. On the first spray, you're gonna get something that's sharp. It's like a ginsu. In addition to it being sharp, it's also a little tart. But without a doubt, this one's really, really floral. In addition to that hibiscus, you're gonna get some rose here. And the rose is sharp, not particularly pungent, but it's strong. Now, from what I experienced with this fragrance, people love that it projects, it performs, and it smells amazing. If you're wearing this, there's no doubt that someone's gonna recognize you. And it's also not a question that the ladies will adore you. Now, the dry down of this fragrance is where things get a little bit more special. There's some vanilla here, there's some ambre, there's also some leather, and that makes this one warm, it's cozy, super super sensual, and it just keeps going. What I will say is that this is a bolder take on a scent, so if you're a little bit more reserved, this might not be the one for you. But if you're okay with being front and center, then give this one a few sprays and watch how things go your way. As we move forward to the final fragrance on this list, and if we're talking about a scent that's going to make people want to be closer to you, this one does it. The fragrance that I'm talking about comes from the house of Amouage, and this one is Reflection 45. If you ever have a question about what this fragrance is, just look at the bottle. You're gonna see a reflection and just add 45. Now, I remember when this fragrance initially dropped, it was all over the place of people just talking about the compliments that they got, the women adoring this fragrance, and also how good the performance of this fragrance was. And I'll tell you, in 2026, all of those things are still true. This just happens to be a rich, luxurious, long-lasting fragrance that you really can't get enough of. A few sprays of this one will go a long way, but why wear less when you can wear more? Here's the reality of it, is that this fragrance will not be in everyone's price point, but sometimes you need to treat yourself, and this is one of those fragrances that I personally believe is worth treating yourself to. Overall, the fragrance is going to be rich, it's woody, it's aromatic, and it just does a lot of things well. So if you're looking for a fragrance that is a proven compliment monster, how do I know? Because this one technically went down as one of the most complimented fragrances of all time. So there you have it. These are the fragrances that make women want to get closer to you, but you got to know exactly what to say. So don't forget to holler at my friends over at the Wing Girl Method and click the link down below and let Marnie know I sent you. And then go over here and check this one.